here we are with Chris, who's the inventor of, you want to tell him what the name of your technology is, Chris?
We have, it's called EarthTides, and it's found on earthtides.net. And basically what we have is a piece of equipment that has two different modalities. We have a modality that is used to pull toxins and pharmaceuticals and heavy metals out of the body using an ionization process. And then the other modality is a frequency generator. It's like a zapper. After the Hulda-Clark zapper, however, our frequency is, we've chosen the frequency of Dr. Overman of 2500 hertz, which is very good for the pathogens, which are like the worms, the fungus, candida, bacteria, and those types of things. And so when you can combine those two together, you have a nice unit that does both the heavy metals and the toxins and the chemicals, and another one that takes care of the pathogens and things that are alive that your body doesn't need.
Great,
Yeah.
great. And you know, we know that there's other systems out there, and when I talked to you, it made a lot of sense what you were telling me, why this is a different system, and this is your own creation. Can you tell us a little bit about why this is a little different than other systems that may be out there on the market, and so we could give them the differences?
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier on, anyway, the technology actually is not mine. The technology has been around long before I came to the planet. The idea of putting two different technologies together, probably I'm the one, the creator of that. But getting back to the question was, how is the ionization process that we are using here different than the other ionic detox machines that are on the market today, that are coming from all over the world? We have chosen, when we started 13 years ago, that we're only going to use negative ions. We're going to use negative ionization. The reason for that is the toxins that are stuck in our body, the heavy metals that are stuck, are actually stuck with a positive charge because we're electromagnetic. So as they're stuck, they won't get unstuck unless you can get some negative ionization. You can go out to the seashore where the waves are breaking against the waves against the sand and the rocks. That's enough kinetic energy to create your hydroxide. Enough kinetic energy to knock out the hydrogen atom. And there are those companies who actually have felt that you should put positive ions in the water, feeling that perhaps there might be some chemicals that have a negative charge in the body that they want to balance. Well, when you look at that, it doesn't make any sense because the body is grounded, the body is negative, the cells actually have a natural proclivity tendency to be negatively charged. So if there's anything like that, negative against negative, it's going to repel it automatically, and it'll probably be the first thing that comes out of the body anyway. So, and we have enough positive ions in the cell towers, the telephones, the computers, so we don't need any more. We don't need any more positive ionization.
Right.
We know that's not a good thing.
Right.
So another thing that makes the EarthTides, well, another plus, I guess you could say, that other ionizing foot baths don't have is we added the frequency generator. We're the only ones that I'm aware of that have the two modalities enclosed in one enclosure. So you can actually access the pathogens as well.
Okay, that's fantastic. And we just ran the Heart Quest after doing the foot bath, and we've done another one where this will be new to the practitioners, that they can do the hands and forearms in the water. And you know, and we saw incredibly positive changes on the Heart Quest after doing just the hands, one hand at a time, right? 20 minutes on each one.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit how that came to be, or what you think is going on when they do that upper body work with the hands?
That's a good question. I think that's it was kind of happened by accident. It was we'd never considered arms, but earlier on, about 12 years ago, I sold one to a woman who'd come in for a demonstration, and her mother came in. The mother was about 75 years old, and she had held the probes in her hands, and her feet were in the water. And for that short 45 minutes when they left, her hands were she could move her hands, and I wasn't sure what the problem was. So it was kind of crazy because the daughter came back the following next day with cash and bought a machine. And I thought, well, what happened? She said, well, my mom feels great. She can now move her hands, and she can now go back to doing. And so about 2 weeks later, I met the same lady at Costco, and she came up to me and said, Mom can dress herself now. And I said, what tell me about your mom, what's going on? She said, well, she had arthritis in her fingers, and her wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, her upper body, her neck, and we've been dressing her for 2 years.
That's amazing.
I think, really. And I said, well, how on earth did she get that kind of response? She said, well, she's pretty smart, my mom. She put this basin up on top of the kitchen counter, and she stuck her arms in the water and held the probes with her hands for 3 or 4 nights in a row for about 45 minutes.
Right.
And what happened was, it takes away inflammation. So it sucked out all whatever's in the joints that need to come out, or whatever balancing has to happen. This doesn't heal anybody.
Right.
It doesn't, Dr. Kessler, this doesn't heal. What this does, this is like a toothbrush. It cleans you out, and then your body heals itself.
Right.
That's how that works.
Of course. That's for everything that we do.
Yeah.
But that was really interesting, because that was new to me. And it seems to me, because after I did the hands, the 20 minutes on each side, on the heart rate variability, the heart quest, all the meridians balanced out. The energy came up, but the vitality score, which is not that easy to bring up, came up, and it balanced and improved parasympathetic function and balanced the autonomic nervous system. That was pretty impressive for us. Just what I've seen so far, I would suggest, after talking to you, that the practitioners out there do the foot bath on one day maybe, and do the hands on another day, and kind of switch off when they're doing those kind of things, so they don't overwhelm the system. Is that kind of what you found as well?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think that's an important part of when you first get started. You have a lot of toxicity, and it's good to do the arms one day and then the feet the next. In fact, I'm going to pick up the device and kind of show it here to the camera. This is what it looks like. This part sends the electrons into the water, and into these plates in the water, and this is the frequency generator. This is the one that she's holding these probes in her hands. You can put these probes underneath your armpits. You can put them on different parts of your body. And what it's doing, it's actually, when you flow electrons through your body, you're actually changing the terrain of your body. And whatever pathogens are there, they didn't sign up for that new exposure. It'd be as though we're 10 feet of water outside of this house here. We open up both doors and we have 10 feet of water for it. We'd have a hard time staying here, enjoying this afternoon with this flow of water. Well, that's kind of a metaphor on how this frequency generator is working. Some people actually put the black one in their mouth, and they'll put the red one, like if they're working on their liver, they'll put the red one just above below their hip, leave it there for like 5 minutes, and then the pubic bone, and then follow all the way around, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, all the way around. And the electrons have to go into the body, because you have the negative one in your mouth, and it flows right down, and pretty soon you're changing the whole terrain of your whole right side of your trunk. And that's how. So here it does have, the instructions are 1 day feet and 1 day arms. It's actually on the front panel, the instructions on how to do it. So I'm glad that you brought that up, doctor, because that's what we've already printed it up for you.
Made it really easy, ready to rock and roll with it right away.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions that you might have, Dr. Bacchetti?
No, I'd just say it's a very pleasant experience, and you feel great afterwards. So
yeah. So you just go to the 10-cent store, get yourself a little thing to put the water in, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
One more thing that's interesting, that you said you felt really good.
Uh-huh.
And the test that we took today as well, it actually it moves the body from a sympathetic mode to a parasympathetic mode. In other words, it moves it from fight and flight to healing and digestion and relaxation. And you do that in 45 minutes. If that was the only thing that this foot bath did, it would be worth it.
Well, I could even add to that, because everybody thinks that just having increased parasympathetic is great, and it's only good if that vital force on the heart quest comes up, meaning that it's doing exactly what you said to improve their health. If the vital force didn't come up and it was just parasympathetic improvement, that would be more adrenal exhaustion and those kind of things. But it didn't do that. It brought up the parasympathetic and the vital force, so it improved that whole function to improve, vagal tone, parasympathetic. And that's pretty amazing. Another thing that I've never seen before, it must have relaxed me to the extent that on the heart quest we can look at the brainwave activity.
Yeah.
And it brought up my theta, which put me in a very relaxed state.
And the stress index, mine was cut in half.
Right.
I have no idea why mine would be 600, but it was. But now, then it brought it down to 300.
Yeah, and it did that with me too. The stress index improved, which is a big deal. So I really want to thank you for putting this all together for us and our practitioners, and thank you again.
Oh,
That was
thank you.
great.
Thanks for having me, and this has been great. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.